Welcome to the show. I'm Isha.
My name is Jeanty. I am 26 years old. I live in Randolph, Massachusetts. Currently, I work for an organization called Bay Cove Human Services that's based in Boston, Massachusetts, and it's outstretched from North Shore all the way to the south. And what we do is we work with people with developmental disabilities as well as mental health. So on my end, I work with persons with developmental disabilities over the age of 18, and we provide services and life skills as well as employment opportunities and supports. And so pretty much my story starts in Randolph, where I was raised. And I loved the diversity aspect of Randolph, and that was something that I understood from a young age, knowing that my friends all looked different from me, but we all shared a lot of different characteristics and qualities, which drew me to build great and strong relationships with not only young people, but elders, whether that was in my faith-based organizations or outreach. Growing up, I volunteered a lot. I did some after-school programs, and that really shaped the understanding of why it's important to be involved in your community, the type of need. So I understood that if you are serving, that it gave back to that area. And that filled my heart with so much joy, just the fact of giving my time and effort. It was almost not even just working, it was just effortless efforts to help other people. And I found so much value in doing that and connecting with people who supported me and supported others, which led me into school. I went to the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, where I graduated with my degree in sociology. I felt that it was fitting because I love people and I love to understand their dynamics and what affected them, and even how environment could steer somebody to a certain direction. So I took pride in my degree and understanding more about how influential environment could be towards people. And when I came back to Randolph after graduating, I noticed a shift happening, which was very important. There was beautification happening in the town. There was new buildings coming about, parks being renovated, and people obviously changing. The demographic was different. And I looked around and I noticed certain things that were changing, but we also needed a lot more in this community. So it took some time and some effort, but I also sat down with some friends and some colleagues, and we thought about an idea of reaching out and starting a new project.
Wow. Rochelle has some wonderful stories, as you just heard. You did mention about your upbringing.
Yes.
Tell me, what is the difference would you like to see today of your upbringing, that times have changed? You said the demographics have changed.
Yes.
How would you speak to the young girls and boys who are in your community?
Especially in the type of community that I'm from a very diverse community, melting pot of different cultures. I look to my left, my neighbor is a different nationality. I look to my right, and that's the same. And the fact, if you're in a situation that you notice that you are around people who look different than you, do not shy away from that opportunity to blend in and get to know other people and to speak up. I think we live in a society that is constantly trying to keep us in a box almost. We're facing phones all the time, and we're in our iPods and iPhones, and it's a lot of distraction. And I think that moving forward, if you're able to take that step forward, break out of that box and say hello or engage with somebody, network with the elder, network with the young person, even talk to somebody your age and ask questions of, hey, if I have an idea, would you side with me? Or how do you also look at that idea? Do you have any critiques? I think too many people are almost hesitant to even get involved. And I would strongly suggest for any young person, for any adult, for any elder, to get involved in their community. If they're still living, there is still something that you can contribute to your environment.
do so. Definitely.
Yes.
And that brings respect to the communities also,
Most
of
definitely.
diverse cultures, like you mentioned. What do you consider on mentoring?
Mentoring is so important. And I think that we are getting to that point as America is understanding the lack of influence. Even if we know as households, a lot of households are led by single parents sometimes.
Absolutely.
So we're looking at a demographic, I believe, 46% of children are growing up without
Single parent.
in a single parent household.
Yes.
So when we think about that, they're already missing influence and they're missing leadership in their lives. So mentorship is essential for young people. Even in situations where they couldn't have grown up with both parents, that guidance and that push from other people, and especially from those who are older, who have more experience, can be beneficial for those young people who are making decisions and who could really learn a lot more from those people. It takes some time and effort, and I know that we are all living busy lives, but really understanding the essence of, you know, giving your time, especially if you're an older person and maybe somewhere in a trade where you maybe there needs to be representation. Give back, reach out, you know, seek somebody who's younger, scout them, you know.
Volunteering, that's
Yes.
the reason. So at these community centers, you said that there is a huge impact at the community centers, and they impact everybody who contributes or who's there to take guidance. How would you describe these centers? What is lacking or what is already there? What have you benefited?
Right. So my first job was through the city school, which is in Dorchester, Massachusetts. So living in Randolph, I took the train into the city to work at this community center,
Wow.
which was a nonprofit. I did a summer leadership program. So I'm 16 years old, around 100 young people who I'd never met before, inner city young people.
Wow.
And that was influential. That changed my view of social justice. It even taught me a lot about just understanding just systems and people and learning how to relate to other people. And I thought that even coming from a diverse community, I thought I knew a lot. But stepping into that environment, it made me learn how to work better with more people. Even
You were
people-
living their lives, you would say, at the age of 16. This is incredible.
Thank you. And it took some time, but I realized, why don't I have a city school, this type of organization in Dorchester, in Randolph?
Oh.
And that, for a long time, toyed with me. I talked to my friends about it. I was like, we need something like this in our community. We need a community center. We need a YMCA. We need a community space, because I was able to gain not only a paycheck, but knowledge and wisdom from being at the city school. And I give so much credit for the work that those people do in Dorchester, which they're still actively serving young people to this day. And I look at that experience that I went through when I was 16, 17, and I know how important it was for myself. Instead of using my time idly, I was learning, and I was actually engaged and learning new things that today makes me understand why it's so important to be involved.
Who influenced you that at the age of 16 you made this decision, which is not easy, and taking the train from Randolph to Dorchester?
Right.
Who was the main? Was it your mom? Was it who would you say?
That's a good question. It was a mixture of both my parents. Both my parents came to the United States when they were around my age, actually, in their 20s, but they independently sought after these opportunities.
Brilliant.
And I saw that their pursuits also made me want to pursue more for my life. And I wanted to work, and I wanted to find opportunities to be involved. And once I heard about it, I was like, I think this is a great fit. And I'm so thankful that I was accepted into that program and given that opportunity to learn with youth my age.
I'm so proud of you to say that my parents came to United States. You are a child of an immigrant who found opportunity in this country,
Yes.
and you benefited. You did go to school and you did go to college, and you're giving back to the community. Regards to your parents as well as to you. At the age of 16, when you went to Dorchester, what did you see that impacted you, that you kept your vision alive to where you are today?
I saw the young people who were my age but weren't growing up in the suburbs. They were growing up in the inner city. So they experienced violence. We actually lost a young person in the duration where I was working to gun violence.
So sorry.
And even I remember watching the news that night, and there was not even much coverage on his shooting. They actually covered another shooting. That, of course, it makes sense. You know, we have to fairly give, time for media purposes. But it was hard for me because I was like, he was a great person who was, again, involved. He turned away from his violence and chose a life of knowledge through the program. And it struck me for a second just to see how the world was portraying his story when he had so much
To
life.
offer and life.
And so that to me was struggling, but in turn, just being part of that opportunity to be around the young people, it just made me realize that we all deserve these type of services. We all deserve to be shown value. We all deserve to have these jobs, to be paid, to continue to learn, to have opportunities to grow. And that of itself made me not look to the person to the left or right of me and judge no one.
No. Did you go through internships when, like at the age of 16, when you went to the community center? Were you paid or were you just volunteering?
So the Summer Leadership Program was a summer-led program that paid us stipends.
Okay.
So that we would attend the program. It was kind of like a 9-to-5 classroom settings, but we would learn about social justice, issues with youth violence, crime, and just understanding more about the city and ways that we could continue to be involved with the fight to be advocates.
And do you think that's helping? What you saw in Dorchester? I mean, sure, it's an ongoing battle, but do you think that has helped? Surely it has helped you, but has it helped certain people who are already there and who are battling their lives?
I believe that the program has helped shape the youth that were involved in that program. Now, as I see them continuing to grow up, we're all growing up together. They're doing great things.
Great.
They're leading events. They're having discussions. They're innovators. I see them being those trailblazers to change, and they're not settling for the status quo. It's beautiful.
Do you have this community center in Randolph? Or do you have a YMCA in Randolph?
So once I graduated from school, I noticed that we didn't have a center, and we needed one. So what happened was I had a conversation with local officials, and I heard that they were working on a blueprint to create a potential center. So this blueprint was not discussed a lot widely throughout the community at that time, and I was just hearing about it when I reached out. So I gathered some friends, and we decided to start writing letters. We appeared at events. We hosted our own events.
Wow.
We appeared at town hall, and we spoke at meetings about the importance of bringing a community center to the community. At the time, this was a $12 million project that would have had to been funded. So they were looking at different streams and ways to fund it. And one was potentially through a loan.
Okay.
And then they were also looking at the town budget, the annual budget. So this was not a overnight project. This was at least 2 years of advocating and working and endlessly talking and having that conversation. And during that time, I was having a ball because I was really enjoying this type of work and getting involved with the people who I even grew up with. And noticing them being active. So these are adults who I grew up with in my faith-based organizations, and noticing that they were in the school committee or town council, and I was almost like reunited. And all in all, I've realized so much potential in getting involved in engagement that by the time that the vote came around of whether this project was going to come to pass or not, I was still on edge. I didn't know what was going to happen, but the council voted yes.
Oh.
And they approved the project. The center is built, and now Randolph has its first intergenerational community center.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So do you go back to the community, to the center? Do you meet all the people that put up this community center with you?
Yes, I am at the center. I love utilizing the center. There's so many beautiful events that happen there. Currently, there's 60 plus programs that are offered. Over 8,000 participants use that center. And on a daily basis, they have about 200 people use it.
Unbelievable. I would never know. I mean, all the information that you provided us and to the viewers, we would never know that such a center exists and is serving the community. In which ways do you think from an early age, like when you went to school, let me put it this way, when you were at school, were the teachers helpful, or there are other children who are at school? Are those teachers, are the schools helping those children to create, to invent, to notice the community the way you did, or inspire them?
I went through the Randolph school system, and I did have a lot of influential teachers.
Okay.
Ones that I do remember to this day, who I can think about and pinpoint the certain things that they identified and noticed, even in myself.
Wow.
And some teachers would actually say, I need you to stay because we need you to continue to be involved.
Amazing.
And to hear that type of encouragement and even just that interaction on a daily basis was important to me as a young person trying to still understand where I was going in this world. So I highly suggest for even young people to just talk to your teachers and continue to be engaged in that way. Education is so important, and there's so much resource. Even to this day, Randolph public schools are really making a change, and they are so innovative, and I'm very excited for what's to even come.
It may be too early to ask this question, but where do you want to take your vision to? I can see you have a lot of thoughts and a lot of creativity.
Yes.
Very inspirational. But where do you see yourself taking all of these thoughts? What do you see yourself building? I would like to know.
Thank you. I think that question is a beautiful question, and I take a lot of time to think about it. I am currently in school. I'm doing graduate courses through UMass Boston in public administration. So that's kind of aspects of government and nonprofit work, again, giving back to the people.
Yes.
So I know that my work will always be with the people. Community engagement is what I love. It's what I live for. Whenever I get home from work, if I know there's an event happening in my community, I try my best to make time for it. I'm present, I'm active, and that's what really drives me, seeing other people getting those resources and having those opportunities to meet with other people. So I want to make sure that those spaces are being available and made available to people, and that people are aware and engaged and feeling comfortable in their settings and communities as well. Yeah, thankfully I have my mother, who has been such a rock. She works very hard and aimlessly just to make a way from my family. Oh. And she is just a living example of a superwoman who works hard, who's able to do, she's a woman of many crafts. And I'm just influenced by her every time I see her, just trying something, fixing something, even engaging with other people, hospitality, all the way. She's amazing.
Regards to your mother, convey, I'm sure all my viewers would do the same, to bring up such a wonderful daughter and who is serving the community, who has a lot of plans, and hopefully Rochelle is going to be involved in multiple series, bringing to you different aspects of the community.
Yes.
It's an amazing journey, I would say. So you've already taken a journey, you're already successful in your life, and to share all of this with the community and to diverse community, just like you said when you started, that it's not I'm trying to do with there are neighbors from different parts of the world who've come here who are immigrants. You're trying to raise them, inspire them, mentor them.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say to my viewers to end the series?
Yes. I would say that engagement is so important. Most definitely look at yourself and see the qualities that you can give back in your community, in your spaces. And don't hesitate to ask questions. Feel free to just be yourself. I think too many times we want to hide, but you have this opportunity with life to do great things. And if you are living, if you're breathing, you are able. So believe in yourself and move, and you'll be fine. You'll do great things.
She inspires me too. So I'm sure that we will continue our series. Thank you for joining. I'm Isha.
I'm Rochelle.